Welcome to City Journal. This week we have a special edition. We're coming from the mayor's office in City Hall. We have a lot of stuff to talk about today, but first we have breaking news that we actually just got word on that the fire department just got a grant, so you can elaborate on that.
Well, yeah, literally this just came across to me just a few moments ago before we went on air. The city fire department applied for what we call a safer grant. We applied for this grant through the Department of Homeland Security, which is in charge of FEMA. And we just got notification from our U.S. Senator's office that we were awarded a $1,070,000 grant. And this is the second $1 million grant that we've gotten in the past, I think, 3 or 4 years. The first $1 million grant we got was to retain firefighters. This new grant is to hire additional new firefighters. So we'll be able to grow the ranks in the Marion City Fire Department. I think it's 3 firefighters for a 3-year period that this $1,070,000 grant will pay for. So the fire department and the chief and the firefighters are obviously very excited.
Yeah.
When you get a grant this size that allows you to hire new firefighters, that's always positive for the community and good for the department.
Well, that's very exciting that we got all that money for our town.
It is, and these are competitive grants. Fire departments from all across the nation make applications to the FEMA program. And we had heard maybe we were getting close right around Christmas time, so we all kind of got excited. And here we are in the middle of February where we've finally received official notification of this $1 million grant. So it is exciting. I don't know how quickly we'll get these 3 firefighters hired, but we are doing interviews right now for new firefighters for the department. So hopefully we can get going right away and get them on staff as quickly as possible.
Well, that's very exciting.
Yes.
Well, with spring coming up, we have baseball and softball in the youth programs. So do you want to talk about what that'll entail this year?
Yeah, there's actually been a lot of conversation and a lot of talk about youth baseball and youth softball in this community. I'll go back to December. That's when I, as mayor, started to get involved in this particular venture. I had some of the baseball and softball organizations in our community come to the mayor's conference room. And my message to them was I wanted to see more baseball and softball played at the Lincoln Park complex. I think many of your viewers may remember when they were younger going through the programs there, attending softball games, whether they be adult or youth programming out there. And it's kind of curtailed the past few years. And I just wanted to see more activity in Lincoln Park. We've already invested $3.5 million in a new aquatic center. So the more baseball, it complements the aquatic center and vice versa. And so I wanted the organizations to cooperate with one another. Youth baseball was working with the Marion Merchants to hold a baseball tournament there this spring. They got that all squared away. And then the first of the year, representatives from the Marion Youth Baseball Program contacted the city and said that they wanted to sever their relationship with the city. Now, let me explain what that relationship is. A lot of folks might not understand. The city of Marion has had a contract with Baseball for Youth for a number of years now. And we are nearing the end of a 15-year contract where the nonprofit Marion Baseball for Youth has run the youth baseball program. The city has never run a youth program, and I don't look for us to ever run a youth program. We've always partnered with other organizations that run those types of baseball programs for us. But youth baseball finally got to the point where they could not afford to continue on with the contract. They had 3 years left in their 15-year contract. We did agree to sever the relationship with Marion Youth Baseball. And so what has happened recently is the Marion Park Commission convened just the other day to approve what they call an RFP, which is a request for proposals. And that request for proposals will go out to any organization that is interested in being the successor organization to youth baseball. And there's, in fact, a meeting held today with Park Director Mike Cheney to answer any questions and pass out the RFP to anybody that's interested. They'll have until March the 7th to fill out the RFP or submit their proposal to the Park Commission. The Park Commission will meet on March the 11th to choose the new successor organization for youth baseball. So I'm hopeful, and I do believe at this point in time, that there will be youth baseball and softball in the Lincoln Park complex. We have also had negotiations with a semi-pro baseball team, the Shovel City Crawlers. So those negotiations continue on making Lincoln Field in Lincoln Park their home diamond.
Okay.
They want to play 20 some odd games starting Memorial Day weekend of this year. And it's our hope, with more baseball being played out at the park, that it will generate revenue to rebuild some of the park infrastructure in the baseball complex side of things. And if we can do that, then we can start talking to the Harding Athletic Department and offer to them to make Lincoln Park their home baseball facility as well. So I think a lot of good things can come out of this.
Would you want adult softball and baseball teams to play at the Lincoln Park too?
I'm definitely in favor of that. Whoever the successor organization is will really kind of be in charge of that. I think there's like 11 to 13 ball diamonds out there. If there is time on those diamonds where there can be an adult softball program and the successor organization is in favor of it, I'm definitely going to approve of that. Most of our adult programs are independently run, but they are played on other existing Marion Park baseball, softball diamonds. So we do have facilities for adult programming that we don't run it directly anymore. So who knows what will happen. The big question I get from most folks is, what happens to the bingo hall on Leader Street? What happens to the recreation center up on North Main Street? A lot of people think that since youth baseball is going away, that the city is now going to acquire the bingo hall and the youth recreation center. That is not true. Those facilities have never been part of the city, and they will not be part of the city's organization. They stay with the Marion Baseball for Youth program, the nonprofit, whatever status they are. They will continue to run the bingo hall as long as they have a charitable organization that they can take that bingo money and put it into. So we don't oversee that, we don't administer it, and we don't regulate it. All I'm concerned about is youth baseball and softball being played at the Lincoln Park complex this year and for many years to come. We went back to 1952 when youth baseball was started in this community, and the city didn't run it then, and the city doesn't run it now. Therefore, I don't believe we should run it going into the future. But in 1952, when the last minor league baseball team played at Lincoln Field, that's when they created the youth baseball program.
We'll be back right after these messages.
Oh, and this one is tied up. Time up, Boston.
Man, I wish this game would never end. Hey, send it into overtime. Yeah, no problem.
Boston's going to get one last chance. It's the pass up to Hampton for the win. Oh, he loses control. This one is going into overtime.
Buffalo Wild Wings, you have to be here.
If it's snowing and you're going, needs for the wintry driver. Tires and scraper, wipers and heat. Slow down in the snow on the wintry street. The National Road Safety Foundation.
All right, so another topic is the drug raids and all the activity in the police department. So would you like to elaborate on those?
Yeah, actually we just wrapped up an almost 2-year investigation on illegal drug activities in our community. And we had a press conference here in City Hall. This was the first that I've ever been a part of while being mayor. And I do want to commend the agencies and organizations that were involved, because this wasn't just the Marion City Police Department. It was the Sheriff's Department, and between those two departments we have the Marmet Drug Task Force. Also, we had the FBI involved. We had the ATF involved, as well as the U.S. Attorney's Office. So this went from federal level to state level to local level. All those jurisdictions were involved in this 2-year investigation. And it culminated yesterday with 9 warrants being issued here in the city of Marion. Yesterday morning, starting at 5 a.m., they started their roundup of these 9 alleged criminals. And they got 8 of the 9 yesterday. There were 5 SRT teams, and these are special response teams. 1 by the city, 1 by the sheriff, and then 3 special response teams from federal agencies such as the FBI and the ATF. And I just received notice earlier this afternoon that they did pick up their final 9th person they were looking for. So they have them all in custody. And this investigation crosses state boundaries. That's why the feds were involved. It goes up into Michigan, it goes into Indiana. And I am thankful for the support and assistance from the FBI, the ATF, and the U.S. Attorney's Office. Because these are federal charges, federal drug charges, not state drug charges. And the federal charges carry a stiffer punishment, a longer time in prison if found guilty. And that's the type of cooperation we needed in the Marion community. And I hope going forward we can continue to have this kind of cooperation with these federal law enforcement agencies and with the U.S. Attorney's Office. So anytime that you can take bad guys off the street, it's good for Marion. It also sends a strong message. It's not just the Marion City Police Department or the sheriff. Now we have the support of the federal government behind us to go after these alleged drug dealers in our community. And the most difficult for me, thing for me as mayor is, for example, I get a phone call, and it's a law-abiding, God-fearing citizen that lives near one of these drug houses. And the first thing they say to me is, there's something fishy going on over there. Maybe they suspect drug activity, or maybe there are other things. And oftentimes as mayor in a community our size, I will personally respond when I get a phone call. And I remember about 2 summers ago, I responded to the neighborhood where one of these drug houses were located that was raided yesterday. And I was talking to the residents who live nearby and called in the complaint. As I was leaving, I got a call from the chief of police, and he says, "Hey, Mayor, don't ever go back there again." I didn't know there was an ongoing investigation. And I think maybe the viewers might not understand, well, how could the mayor not know that there was a multi-jurisdictional investigation of this magnitude going on in their community? First of all, I don't think you want a politician involved. You want to leave this to the professional law enforcement agencies. I later found out that there was an investigation going on, but didn't know the full magnitude of that investigation until yesterday when the indictments were handed out. So I can only say thanks to the feds, thanks to the Sheriff's Department, and a special thank you to the Marion City Police Department for participating in the drug raids that took place in our community yesterday.
Well, I'm glad that we got everybody. So a lot of the faces in the police department are also changing. We actually hired a new chief of police. So.
Yes, yesterday, right after the press conference on these drug raids, I finally received official notification from the Civil Service Commission. The test results had been certified and approved by the commission, notifying me that Major Bill Collins was the top test scorer and will be promoted to the chief of police. And so I had an opportunity to talk to Major Collins a little bit yesterday. And I've known Major Collins going all the way back to high school. He was a few years ahead of me in high school, but I do remember him. And I know he comes from a family that has a law enforcement background. His father was a Marion City police officer. His brother was the colonel of the Highway Patrol, and now he will be the chief of police for Marion, Ohio. So I know he and his family are very proud and very excited about this. A lot of people don't know how the chief of police is picked, and it's quite simple. They take a test, and the best score on the test becomes the next chief of police. It takes the politics out of it. It takes the personalities out of it. The mayor doesn't get to pick the next chief of police. But, you know, it's interesting because as mayor, I will now have appointed a new fire chief in Tony Zwally, and now I will get to swear in a new police chief in Bill Collins. And that's exciting for a mayor to get to do those kinds of things. So that's one face that will change. I do want to thank Major Randy Carrier, who has been the interim chief of police the past few months. He took over for Chief Tom Bell when he retired. He and Tom Bell came up through the ranks together. They went to the academy together, and now Major Carrier has decided to retire. And I just want to thank him for his service to the city of Marion. I think it's something in the neighborhood of 35 plus years, and so I hope he enjoys his retirement.
We will be right back after these messages.
The recent snow event and below freezing temperatures can bring about conditions for potholes to form on city streets. The moisture from rain, sleet, and snow seeps into the pavement and subbase, freezes, expands, and then thaws. The freeze-thaw cycle weakens the pavement and traffic loosens the pavement even more, resulting in the crumbling of the pavement. See a pothole, report a pothole, see the pothole fixed.
You know the name Rhino Linings. Now take Rhino home with Rhino Home Pro Flooring. Find the hidden beauty of your garage. Choose a variety of colors and styles. Beautiful, durable, and easy to clean. Fast floor guards against chemicals, abrasion, and impact. 3 layers of superior protection. Installs in a day. Add value to your home with Rhino Home Pro.
People don't always make the best decisions in the winter. But some of the biggest mistakes people make in the winter center on winter driving. Here are some smart winter driving tips that will reduce your emissions and expand your wallet. Make sure to get your car serviced every winter by a qualified technician. Checking your fluid levels, battery, and spark plugs every month can also make your car run more efficiently and lower your chances of a roadside breakdown. Cold temperatures can cause the air pressure in your tires to drop, lowering your car's gas mileage. For your safety and to minimize your fuel consumption, it's a good idea to check your tire pressure regularly. Regardless of the weather, it's always a good idea to drive the speed limit. Not only is it safer to drive at slower speeds, but you can also improve your gas mileage. Following these simple driving tips may be the best decision you make all winter.
Welcome back to City Journal. So we've also just promoted 2 lieutenants to major, and you got a new chief of police, and then in the near future you're going to be hiring new lieutenants too.
Yeah, the way the process works is, well, first of all, I want to mention that we just swore in 3 new patrol officers. Those are the officers that you commonly see driving around in the police cars on the streets. They're the patrolmen. So 3 new ones, fresh legs, fresh ideas. It's good to have fresh officers introduced into your ranks from time to time, and now we're in a position in the city of Marion where we can do that. And out of the patrolman ranks, we'll give a lieutenant's test, and because now we have the ability to promote 2 new lieutenants, and then that's because 2 lieutenants took a test to become majors. So we've got patrolmen, lieutenants, majors, and then a chief. That's the rank structure for the Marion City Police Department. The 2 new majors will be Lieutenant Schaefer will be promoted, and Lieutenant Clewell. So they'll be sworn in on Monday at the same time the new chief of police will be sworn in. And then next month in March, we will give a lieutenant's test to fill their vacant positions that have been created. And then that will give us the ability to hire a couple more new patrolmen. As people move up, it opens up a vacancy in the back end, and we can fill those vacancies now, and allowing more fresh people and fresh faces to come on the Marion City Police Department. So, bottom line, there's a lot of changing faces in the Marion City Police Department, all the way up from the senior staff, all the way down to the patrolmen. And change is inevitable. I embrace the change. I think it's good for the department, and I do believe it's going to be good for the city of Marion to have these new faces in these new positions.
Okay. Well, on our last episode, we talked about potholes. So do you have any updates on those, and also our state salt supply?
Yeah, potholes this time of year are just everywhere.
Yes.
If you have a driver's license, you're going to hit a pothole somewhere. That's not unusual. We're seeing potholes come up all over Central Ohio, in fact all over the state. And it's quite a challenge for local governments and the state to keep those potholes filled. The material that we use at this time of year is only a temporary fix. So you may call in and say there's a pothole at the corner of Elm and Oak, and we come out and we fill that pothole, and I guarantee you in a couple of weeks after cars are driving over it and snow plows run over it, there's going to be another pothole there. So the best thing to do is call the central garage, because they're the ones that go out and fill those potholes. We'll continue to fill them, and they'll continue to be created. And then later on this spring, when the ground temperature and the asphalt warms up and the asphalt plants start making asphalt that is more durable than what we're using now, we can do a more permanent fix to these potholes. So I just ask your viewers to bear with us. It is the pothole season. It will be the pothole season for at least the next month and a half to 2 months. And let's all hope that winter is almost over.
Yes.
So, in regards to the salt supply, the city of Marion is doing okay on salt. We have enough salt to get us through the remainder of the winter if we have a normal winter.
Yes.
The first part of the winter has not been normal, so we've used a lot more salt than we normally would have. But we have a contract, and so that contract is being filled, and so we're getting our salt in. There are lots of communities that have simply run out of salt. The state of Ohio is having a difficult time getting salt. So let's hope that we have a normal winter. Let's hope it's almost over, and we should be good on salt. If it's not, then we're going to have to look at some alternatives. We're paying about $47 a ton for salt right now. We're hearing that if we have to order more salt, it could go up to $170 a ton. So if you can get the salt, you might not be able to afford the salt. So there are some challenges out there, and it's not unique to the city of Marion. It's happening all across the state and all across the Midwest. You look at some of the weather events that have taken place in the South this year and on the East Coast. I think Marion and Central Ohio has probably been more fortunate than other places. We haven't had any significant power outages. We haven't lost water supply through Aqua America. So we've done pretty well, and we've actually weathered the storm not too bad.
Good. All right, well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And that is it for this month's episode of City Journal.